Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Aquatic Dreams. So we're going to do a little how-to on how to install the light kits. So I chose an 18-inch one. We're going to do it on this one to start with. If you have a bigger 24-inch, 30, whatnot, principles are the same. Basically what we want to do is we want to go around that circle and we're going to light up the middle. That's generally what gives the best illumination. And so in order to do so, I'm going to show you guys how to install the lights on here, how to stick them on and put them all together and make sure everything works right, okay? So first thing we want to do is get your lights out. I always like to make sure that there is some tape around this part of the lights right here at the very bottom. So these lights, you know, even though these are the better lights, sometimes these leads right here will separate from the actual connectors here, and it can cause some of the lights to go out. So what I always like to do, I always start back to double-sided tape a little bit. I put some tape around it. Some of the kits I've already done this for the most part I try to open up and do that. But what I do is I put some electrical tape around here, and what this does is it seals it really good, make sure there's nothing that could potentially crimp or get in the way. Because this is the area I found that when you're plugging things in here and you're running them to the wall, a lot of times it'll tweak this little part right here. And I've had a few like issues with the lights not firing right, so on and so forth. And we've gone through a lot of tests to get these lights right, using all kinds of different ones, and we finally found ones that work really well. But again, sometimes when things happen, they happen right here. Okay, first thing we're going to do is naturally we're going to turn this over. Don't make the mistake that I've done many times and started on the other side and realized, uh-oh, I'm not trying to light the front. So what you want to do is, as I said before, is we want to go around here in such a way that we build a path that allows you to light up the outside and light this middle part. But sometimes it's a little bit tricky because you have to understand when you're putting this in, you have to understand where you want to go to light up certain parts so that you end back where you started. So in some cases that means you need to start at the corner over here. Sometimes when we do text that's across the middle of all two words, so like a simple thing, you will actually go through down one side, down back the other side, and then end up ending the lights in the middle part right here. So you want to start over here. I suggest that you kind of map this out a little bit. I'm going to show you basically how we do two line ones so that you can see how that works. Essentially, I like to start down here. I go around, and so in words like this, because we can't go all the way through because of the lights here, what we have to do is we have to get creative, and we want to make sure there's even lighting around here. As far as these letters go, I'm going to come around this side and do a loop through here, so that's going to be easy. But on this side, I want to make sure that at least I try to illuminate some of this R right here so it gets some side lighting, otherwise it won't show up as much. So what I like to do, and I'll go ahead and start, and just peel back the sticky tape here. And we're going to start laying this out. It's a lot easier when you're on the bigger ones because they don't have to crimp as much. But on these smaller ones here, I'm pretty much kind of crimping it along just a little bit to follow the curve. One of the things I'm going to talk about is you want to be very careful about not breaking these things. So in this case right here, as you see, I need to come back inside here, but I can't make any crazy right angles. So what I do is I come along like this. I have to weave in between these bubbles here, and that's going to give me enough coverage here where I can get in here and I can kind of like trace a little bit here and come back out this side. But I don't want to make any tight right angles, otherwise it will crack the circuits, and we do not want to do that. So I'll show you when I come back around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another little bend here. What I want to do is I want to come around here just a little bit because I have this, we're going to come back through here and do this part, but I want the R to light up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm not going to come in that much. I'm going to come around here a little bit. I'll make a little loop right here. Again, I don't want it to give a right angle. So what I'm going to do is a little loop here. It's okay if it sticks out because you're going to have a spacer on the mounting kit. When you mount these, you have a spacer that's good. So that's going to protect this right here. So it's really not a big deal. So I come over here. I'm going to come over here. This is going to give me some light on this side. I do the same thing I did over here. And then I come back out. So again, don't have to press hard. You don't want to create crazy hard angles here. I know it looks a little crazy, but I promise you, in the end, it'll work out just fine. Because anytime you push any of these things down, and you can move them around a little bit, anytime you push these things down, you'll end up having problems. And the last thing you want is problems because it will definitely mess things up. And you will get you'll get broken circuits and it will not be good. So it's okay if it looks like this. Again, you're gonna have spacers, don't worry about it. So then I get those, so that's gonna illuminate the side here of the R, a little bit of the bottom here. I'm gonna continue coming around. Just take off the tape as I'm doing here.
Don't worry about that. Keep on going. I'll probably speed this up. Again, don't crimp it, just keep it loose. Okay, now we get
to this part. Now when we get to this part, we're gonna do the same thing we did over there. We're gonna cut around inside these bubbles right here. And in this case, what we wanna do is we wanna come through here and then come back. So we're gonna illuminate the word Reese's and then Reef right here all together. So I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna do my little loop right here to start me where I'm going. Because we're gonna come back through here. I'm going to give myself a little room, a little space right here. And then I'm going to come across the top like this. Now, we've actually measured this. When we design these, we measure to make sure there's exactly enough channel here so the light doesn't shine through on the other side. And that's an important thing, is you don't want that to shine through. Otherwise, you can have some problems. So we'll come back through here. Come back through here. We run all the way through the middle here. Cut back out to the edge, just like I showed you. Being careful not to bend things. And then we end up all the way back at the very bottom. But anyway, what you want to do is there's a notch right here. It's got a little, looks like a little 1 right here. You want to match those up so they both come together. What I like to do again is I like to put electrical tape on here so I can seal it up so I don't have it falling off or anything. So I always put a little bit of electrical tape to seal it right there. Make sure that on your bottom down here, if you have, make sure this is sealed up. You may want to put some electrical tape here as well, just to make sure that you're not having it crimp whenever you mount it. So I'll do that. Then this goes to here. You'll mount on the wall. This is going to run down to your AC adapter. I'm going to plug the AC adapter in the bottom of it, and then voila. And then we have it. So there you go. As you can see, if you see something shining through here, you just adjust that when you go back, and I'll actually go back and adjust it. Again, this is an 18-inch one, so the 18-inch one has a little less free play like you have on the bigger ones. Other than that, that's it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, you have your remote here. You push your remote, you change it to the different frequencies based on your IR remote here, and then you're good to go, mount it on the wall. So as far as the magnetic wall hanging kit goes, what you want to do is you want to mount them with the spacers on here. So actually, these are actually screwed into the wall. I use this quite a bit. Just to show you what we're doing here, we put the screw through the magnet, through the spacer, and then the wall. So it's a pretty good idea to do them like this, 2 on each side, because the main area of contact is usually in the middle of your sign. Otherwise, when you use the thinner parts, it's kind of hard to get good contact on there. Depending on the size of the sign you use, you may need more or less, depending on, again, like the placement and everything. So, an example of this would be, there you go. So I went ahead and put it on the wall using the magnetic wall hanging kit. Got it all set up, turn it on, and there we go. You see that we got a nice illumination all the way around the edges, all the way across the letters, and we're good to go.